Hi friends, in this video we are going to discuss about Java OOPS concept. The basics of OOPS. Object-oriented programming is a paradigm that provides many concepts such as inheritance, data hiding, polymorphism, etc. The popular object-oriented languages are Java, PHP, Python, C++, etc. The main aim of object-oriented programming is to implement real-world entities, for example, object, classes, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, etc. OOPS, Object-Oriented Programming System. Object means a real-world entity such as a pen, chair, table, computer, watch, etc. Object-oriented programming is a methodology to design a program using classes and objects. It simplifies the software development and maintenance by providing some concepts such as object, class, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. Objects. What is an object? Object is a bundle of data and its behavior. Any entity that has state and behavior is known as an object. For example, a chair, pen, table, keyboard, bike, etc. It can be physical or logical. An object can be defined as an instance of a class. An object contains an address and takes up some space in memory. Objects can communicate without knowing the details of each other's data or code. The only necessary thing is the type of message accepted and the type of response returned by the objects. Example, a dog is an object because it has states like color, name, breed, etc., as well as behaviors like wagging the tail, barking, eating, etc. Objects have two characteristics. They have states and behaviors. Class. Class is a collection of objects. It is a logical entity. A class can also be defined as a blueprint from which you can create an individual object. Class doesn't consume any space. Does a class have class name, properties or attributes, common functions? Of a class. A class is a blueprint or a template to create objects of identical type. A class is a core concept of object oriented programming language. Given below is the syntax of a class. Inheritance. Inheritance is a process of defining a new class based on an existing class by extending its common data members and methods. Inheritance allows us to reuse of code. It provides reusability in your Java application. The parent class is called the base or superclass. The child class that extends the base class is called the derived or subclass or child class. When one object acquires all the properties and behaviors of a parent object, it is known as inheritance. It provides code reusability. It is used to achieve runtime polymorphism, the process by which one class acquires the property and functionalities of another class is also called as inheritance. Inheritance provides the idea of reusability of code and each subclass defines only those features that are unique to it. Rest of the features can be inheritance from the parent class. Note: the biggest advantage of inheritance is that the code in base class need not to be rewritten in the child class. The variables and methods of the base class can be used in the child class as well. Syntax for inheritance. To inherit a class, we use extend keyword. Here, class A is child class and class B is parent class. Class A extends class B. Example for inheritance. In this example, we have parent class teacher and a child class math teacher. In the math teacher class, we need not to write the same code which is already present in the present class. Here we have college name, designation and does method that is common for all the teachers. Thus, math class does not need to write this code. The common data members and methods can be inherited from the teacher class. Program of the class teacher with its output. Note, multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java, but multi-level inheritance is allowed. Types of inheritance. Single inheritance refers to a child and parent class relationship where a class extends the other class. Multi-level inheritance refers to a child and parent class relationship where a class extends a child class. For example, class A extends class B and class B extends class C. Hierarchical inheritance refers to a child and parent class relationship where more than one class extends the same class. For example, class B extends class A and class C extends class A. Polymorphism. If one task is performed by different ways, it is known as polymorphism. Polymorphism is an object oriented programming feature that allows us to perform a single action in different ways. In Java, we use method overloading and method overriding to achieve polymorphism. For example, to convince the customer differently, to draw something, for example, shape, triangle, rectangle, etc. For example, let's say we have a class animal that has a method animal sound. Here we can't give implementation to this method as we do not know which animal class would extend animal class. So we make this method abstract like this, as you can see in below. Now suppose we have two animal classes, dog and lion, that extends animal class. We can provide the implementation details here. As you can see that although we have the common action for all subclasses animal sound, but there were different ways to do the same action. This is a perfect example of polymorphism, feature that allows us to perform a single action in different ways. Types of polymorphism. Static polymorphism, dynamic polymorphism. Static polymorphism. Polymorphism that is resolved during compiler time is known as static polymorphism. Method overloading can be considered as static polymorphism example. Method overloading. This allows us to have more than one methods with same name in a class that differs in signature. Static polymorphism. Dynamic polymorphism. It is also known as dynamic method dispatch. Dynamic polymorphism is a process in which a call to an overridden method is resolved at runtime rather. That's why it is called runtime polymorphism. Here is an example for dynamic polymorphism. Since both the classes, child and parent class, have the same method animal sound, which of the method will be called is determined at runtime by JVM. Abstraction. Hiding internal details and showing functionality is known as abstraction. For example, phone call. We don't know the internal processing. In Java, we use abstract class and interface to achieve abstraction. An abstraction class outlines the method but not necessarily implements all the methods. Note 1. There can be some scenarios where it is difficult to implement all the methods in the base class. In such scenarios, one can define the base class as an abstract class, which signifies that this base class is a special kind of class which is not complete on its own. Class derived from the abstract base class must implement those methods that are not implemented, means they are abstract in the abstract class. Note 2. Abstract class cannot be instantiated, which means you can't create the object of abstract class. To use this class, you need to create another abstract that extends this abstract class, provides the implementation of abstract methods. Then you can use the object of the child class to call non-abstract parent class methods as well as implemented methods, those that were abstract in parent but implemented in child class. Note 3. If a child does not implement all the abstract methods of parent class, the abstract class, then the child class must need to be declared abstract. Example of abstract class and methods. Here we have an abstract class animal that has an abstract method animal sound. Since the animal sound differs from one animal to another, there is no point in giving the implementation to this method as every child class must override this method to give its own implementation details. That's why we made it abstract. Now, each animal must have a sound. By making this method abstract, we made it compulsory to the child class to give implementation details to this method. This way, we ensure that every animal has a sound. Given below is a program for abstraction with its output. Encapsulation. Binding or wrapping code and data into a single unit are known as encapsulation. For example, capsule. It is wrapped with different medicine. A Java class is an example of encapsulation. Java Beam is the fully encapsulated class because all the data members are private here. Advantage of OOPS over procedure oriented programming language. OOPS make development and maintenance easier, whereas in a procedure oriented programming language, it is not easy to manage if code grows as project size increases. OOPS provides data hiding, whereas in a procedure oriented programming language, a global data cannot be accessed from anywhere. Thanks for watching this video. Hope it was useful for you.